What's up, guys? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you a brand new Gears of War Eday video. Let's get into it. So guys, in this video, we're going to be talking about Gears of War Eday, and specifically, we're going to be talking about the timeline in which Gears of War Eday is taking place and what this could mean for future entries in the Gears of War franchise. So with that being said, guys, I want to take reference from an article that came out from Josh Kotz of Game Rant, and he talks about how Gears of War Eday is a crucial prequel set during Emergence Day, showcasing Marcus and Dom. I think, first and foremost, guys, it's really important to preface this by saying that Gears of War Eday, without question, is my most anticipated game of the future. I am a massive Gears of War fan. I mean, I've got, the Gears of War 2 decal on the wall within Zero Dark. I've been a massive fan of this franchise. From beginning, even to this day, I still love this franchise for all that it encompasses. Yes, guys, I mean, every single franchise out there you could look at, you could say there's flaws within it. No franchise is perfect, and Gears of War is no different with that. But Gears of War Eday really is going to kind of reintroduce us to what looks to be that dark, gritty feel that we got from the original trilogy of Gears of War. And Eday looks to be that take from the Coalition in a title, like that dark and grittiness that we haven't gotten from the Coalition era at this point. Now, you could argue Gears of War 4 was a very dark and gritty title, but once again, it didn't have your main protagonist being Marcus Fenix. It was his son, JD Fenix. Now, yes, it was somewhat of a passing of the torch from Marcus to his son, JD, but at the same time, now we get a real take here on the Coalition and how they're going to portray Marcus, especially in this time period, that being Emergence Day. Same thing with Dom. It's going to be really interesting to see what they decide to do here. Well, Josh Kotz goes to write, Gears of War Eday is primed to be a major entry in the Gears of War saga, as it tells the story of the most pivotal event in the franchise's history, Emergence Day. In a narrative led by Marcus Fenix and Dominic Santiago, players will finally experience the tragic events of Emergence Day firsthand in Gears of War Eday, set 14 years before the first Gears of War, when the Locust Horde emerged from the ground and threatened Sarah and its inhabitants. Gears of War Eday isn't the first Gears of War prequel ever made, as Gears of War Judgment has already claimed that title, with Gears Tactics following 7 years later. However, Gears of War Eday is the first Gears game set in its time period, as Judgment takes place 14 years before Emergence Day and Tactics 2 years after Emergence Day. In light of that, that remains potential for other games to be set during or around Emergence Day that may focus on different stories and characters, assuming Gears of War Eday will primarily revolve around Marcus and Dom's part in the story. And so I think it goes without question, guys, most people out there within the Gears of War community and fan base agree that Gears of War Judgment was the weakest title within the Gears of War franchise, at least at this point in time. And hopefully it's the weakest forever, because I think that Gears of War Judgment, although it definitely introduced some interesting elements. They changed some of the game mechanics. The campaign I did not like. I thought it was the weakest by a wide margin when it comes to the Gears of War franchise. It felt like the campaign was just Horde mode, but within a story. And I didn't like that concept. And some of the changes that they made, I think switching your weapon was Y in Gears of War Judgment. And so they just changed some of the mechanics. What I do hope is that Gears of War Eday does greenlight not only future entries into the franchise, that being like Gear 6, Gear 7, but it also does some prequels, maybe that of like the Pendulum Wars, really kind of putting a spotlight on, that time period. I think that Gears of War has such a rich history. There's so many different ways that the Coalition, people can fly, a lot of these different companies that can come in and work on different Gears of War titles, different ways in which they can go about the franchise moving forward after Gears of War Eday. I think that it really comes down to Gears of War Eday has got to get knocked out of the park. If they do a really good job with this title, then yes, we're going to get future entries into the future. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But this one has got to get knocked out of the park. Otherwise, we're not going to see no prequels, no continuations. This game has got to do really well for Microsoft and the coalition in order for us to see further, future entries into the franchise. And I think that Gears of War Eday is setting itself up to be the biggest Gears of War game of all time, because not only do they have an opportunity to go back into Emergence Day, which is what a lot of the, passionate Gears of War fan base has wanted to see, but on top of that, them adding not just being an Xbox exclusive, rumored that it's also going to be on PlayStation, it's going to now open up to so many more people than just Xbox players. It's now going to expand into, multi-console. And I think that's going to be huge for Gears of War if that rumor comes true with Gears of War Eday. So at the end of the day, I think Gears of War Eday has a great opportunity here to set up the future of Gears of War in a way where maybe the coalition felt that they didn't have this opportunity when they first started, creating Gears of War titles. They felt that they had to just kind of follow after, kind of obviously the huge peak of Gears of War's franchise, that being Gears of War 3, and they had such huge shoes to fill. And so they decided to do Gears of War 4. Obviously, they had Ultimate Edition as well as Gears 5. And look, guys, at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and say that, any of those titles, absolutely terrible. I don't think that they were as good as the original 3, but it's hard to kind of top the original 3 when they were 3 of the most, I would say transcendent third-person shooters of our time. And so it's really hard to, when I look back on it, trying to top that is really difficult. And so this could be the very first time where the coalition's really able to do exactly what they want to do with the Gears of War franchise, going back in time and really, put a magnifying glass on Eday. So it's going to be really interesting to say the least. I do think, though, that this could absolutely greenlight a ton more prequels as well as sequels into the future if Gears of War Eday is knocked out of the park, which I think all of us are hoping and we believe that it will. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is Gears of War Eday going to greenlight more prequels, more sequels? What do you guys think about it? Let us know in the comment section down below. And for more Gears of War Eday content and videos, keep it right here.